Hey, good morning, traders. Sorry I haven't had a video out. I've been working really hard. One of our top workers got himself arrested, so I've had to take over the slack at work. Um, at any rate, my top watch going into this morning's session, that is the Russell. It's given us a possible leading indicator here. As you can see, we're at a major decision point here, a major potential decision point. We could be topping out here. We have a doji from yesterday right here into this resistance area here on the Russell. Okay, heads up on that. So if you zoom in here, right here on the daily, yeah, right there, 627 is when it first, and we're still dojing right there, and we're starting to lose a little bit of steam right here. Okay, if I move down on the 1 hour time frame, show you real quick here what I'm seeing here. If you anchor your VWAP from the Sunday Open or the Monday Cash Open, 9:30 Cash Open, we're currently trading below both of those. So we all day uh, we were showing bearish signals uh, all day yesterday. Uh, so be very mindful of that. We came up above, got a double top in here right above this resistance. Now we're falling below this. Um, so be very mindful of that going forward here on the Russell. So this is going to be my top watch. See if we break these lows right here on the Russell and start migrating potentially lower here. So that would be my top watch. See if that's a leading indicator if they want to take some profit taking. This is a new quarter, so we could have had end of quarter window dressing. Could very well have been the case, and now they're going to be taking some profits off the table going into the major headline risk going into the end of the week. So let's be very mindful of that. We have economic data coming out Friday when the markets are closed. So they're going to front load where they're positioning Thursday uh, ahead of all that information. So be very mindful of that. So this is my number one watch, knowing how important this area is right here. Granted, we have not broken the out of this box. This is a topping area, giving us signs that a top potentially could be forming here. So that's all it's doing. Okay, potentially forming. Uh, that's all we can pretty much say at this point. Okay. Go over to our other quick here. Yeses. Hey guys, so the Monday Cash Open anchored VWAP. We are trading below that, but we are above the Sunday Open anchored VWAP. So, you know, bottom line is yesterday, how I was trading at yesterday morning, uh, we were coming down, pushing uh, uh, below this anchored VWAP right here, the Sunday anchored VWAP, and I kept trying to short the anchored VWAP as we break, you know, and they kept defending it, and I kept getting stopped out. Now, my first trade yesterday, I actually worked out on the short early on out of the gate. Let's see, where's 9:30? So early on out of the gate, I took a short, and that actually worked out um, on the SPY, and that was pretty much most of my profit for the session on that move. Okay, uh, so what they're doing here, they are defending this prior swing high, and we're still above that. So bottom line is, if this is a buy the dip market until proven otherwise. You actually don't even turn into a swing short until we break last week's low, the weekly low. Okay, and we're above the weekly high. So be very mindful of that. So we're not even getting any type of swing short signal yet. So if you're doing a short, you know that it has to be a scalp idea. Okay, so be very mindful of that going forward here. Okay, that's only a scalp idea. Okay, uh, in queue. Zoom in here on the 1 hour real quick. Basically, it looks almost exactly like the ESs, other than the fact these bodies are. We're working off this very, very strong wicks off that prior week's open anchored view at. Very strong wicks so far as of yesterday. Okay, so let's see what happens here. And so this was behaving better yesterday. Okay, so we have to be mindful of that, defending that prior high with with extreme prejudice. Okay, so if the theory is that it's a risk-off market going into the end of the week, so far Monday that was not showing up in the Nasdaq. So be very mindful of that. Some other takeaways on the SPY: if you use your Anchored View app from the Friday close to the Thursday close of this week. As you can see, the trend line there, we are trading below that trend line. Okay, so be very mindful of that. Okay, that is the first sign that we might be getting some weakness early on this morning. Okay, so we have to keep an eye on that. Okay, we came right up to 60%. Typical breakouts. This is the area that you look for a fail. Look above and look a fail, double top into the cues, and we have not completely filled this gap to the downside. This opening week gap, we have not completely filled that yet. So there's a very good chance that could be forming this morning. So be very mindful of that. We are currently trading below the uh, uh, central pivot range. Currently trading a little bit below our central pivot range, just ever so slightly this morning. Suggesting edge to the bears until proven otherwise. So be very mindful of those little scenarios. Okay, uh, going forward here, and our main support, even on a day-to-day basis, would be a fill of this gap, complete fill of this gap, which has not happened. This is our yesterday. This was our central pivot range. We never even came down to do a hard back test of that, so that could be very well in the cards for today. Be very mindful of that. We'll zoom in here real quick. Okay, our Monday central pivot range down here, so we didn't even come close to the central pivot range for a hard test. Instead, we defended these prior highs. Okay, guys, so be very mindful. We have a bigger gap down here that has not been satisfied right here into the central pivot range. So, that could very well be into the cards. This is holding out a lot better versus the uh, uh, where the expected move for the week is planned to be. The expected move for the week is supposed to be up to the 555.14. So that is the potential going forward here. So bottom line is there's a really good decent chance buyers still might come in and defend the 549.30 area. We could very well be coming back in today and defending that. Typically, the market likes to do repair work before it actually launches higher. So coming down lower today than yesterday makes all the sense in the world to me. Trying to do a better repair of the structure. So let's definitely keep that in mind going forward here. IWM. Zoom in here real quick. Expected move for the week puts us all the way up to 220. Okay, potential 220. This here is acting the weakest. We're right back into the Friday close. So we're opening session this morning, right back into our Friday close, potentially going back into last week's trading candle. Okay, into the last week's weekly trading candle right out of the gate this morning. So be very mindful of that. Okay, going forward here, acting the weakest by far. So we have to be very mindful of that. Okay. Okay. Basically, that's all I got to really say here. Uh, other than that, let's see here. Got a lot of data coming out. I do want to point out, typically the third of every first of every month, the CD rates are announced by the banks, and typically they love to to suppress the yields. As you can see here, as the bond markets go higher, yields come down. So we could probably still see a sustained bid down here on the yield going into the third of the month. That way they can pay out the least amount on their CD rates. So with this double top, very possible is going to be happening here on the ZNs before the third announcement. So they announce it on the third. So today's the first. So tomorrow, you know, they could be driving this up here just to get these yields as low as possible for the next month on the CDs because they only announce it once a month. They do reserve the right to change it during the month if something extreme were to happen, but typically they don't. They tend to pay the least amount possible they can on those CDs um, to their customers and clients. Okay, so that's one thing. Suggesting that that's going to be stable here. Okay. So, guys, I do also want to point out that we've had this little breakdown in the dollar. We might be into a supporting zone um, currently. So, be very mindful of that. We have found some support at this level before. You see right through here. We have found support at this level before. So, be very mindful of that. These prior highs, these prior highs right in this area right here could be support on the dollar. So that could be bearish on the markets if this were to finally start catching a bid. Okay, so be very mindful of that. Okay. Okay, one final rule of thought here, some thought I've got going on here. So there's some tweets going on out about Tesla this morning, and we're right possibly into a potential buy zone here on Tesla this morning. Let's see what happens this morning. Uh, so some bigger theme things I'm talking about that everybody's all gung ho about this robo taxi stuff. And guys, here's what I want to point out. Basically, with the robo taxi, now all of a sudden you don't have to have a human element driver in these taxis. These taxis are supposedly going to go all over and take care of themselves. And what's going to happen whenever terrorists realize that they can pack these taxis or cars or whatever with ordnance and just send them to their destination and have multiple cars spread out throughout the city and set off their ordnance in New York, LA, you name it, and this becomes a delivery vehicle for terrorist activity. Uh, you know, uh, and now all of a sudden you don't even have to worry about a suicide element to a terrorist attack because now the cars themselves will drive themselves to the destination. I know nobody's thought of this, and also, uh, the luggage, putting into the trunk. You don't have somebody, a cabbie or something like that, actually placing that luggage into the trunk or anything. Uh, you know, don't know what type of weight you're putting into that. Uh, you know, if you're a driver or something, you might actually recognize the luggage being not typical luggage. It might be, ordnance or something like that. You might be able to figure that out as a driver, but we're doing away with that element, the human element. So I could very well see a situation where this robotaxi, everybody thinks, oh, we're doing away with all the human component. But I could very well see a situation that, for say like every 50 robotaxis, you need uh, you're going to have cameras in the car with a security guard watching the passengers inside the car, and possibly even another camera in the trunk where the security guard mandates that the luggage is open, you know, below that camera in the trunk before it's allowed placed into that trunk. So basically, a uh, uh, you know, uh, just like with the airlines, have somebody there to watch and regulate uh, everybody trying to use the taxis, having cameras and stuff, more than one camera in there, possibly even taking a facial ID of whoever is getting in that camera before the cab before they'll even allow them to go anywhere. So uh, just be very mindful. It's not going to be 100%. In my opinion, it's too dangerous to be 100% AI driven. There's not going to be a human component. I don't see that happening. So, and honestly, with what's going on, Trump tried or Elon tried to tie himself to Trump to negate the he saw what was happening, that Trump was probably going to win the election. He tied himself to it, trying uh, to talk Trump out of getting rid of all the uh, uh, subsidies and stuff that they have on his cars. And he's definitely not getting anything from Trump. In fact, Trump has proven more than once that he'll turn on his best friends, if it's in his best interest. So and so I could very well see Tesla during the Trump administration back down to $200 a share. So be very mindful of that going forward here. Uh, you know, there's a lot of hype in Tesla that may not be justified at the current prices. Okay, just some ideas. If you don't agree or something, I want to see your comments down below. As long as they're respectful. Like my video if you get a chance, and guys, I will see you trading today. Bottom line is, I am still looking for a break retest to go short this morning on the Q on the SPY or the Russell this morning. Those are a couple things I'm really watching this morning. Uh, Possibly even the Qs. We'll see what happens here. But so just some things I'm looking at here. I'm thinking, the markets probably need to come down further, for a deeper back test than what we got yesterday.